29th of October, and I'm sitting here in the backstage area in the K17. My name is Kalle from Kalle Rock, and I'm sitting here with
Brian Thomas from Halloween from Detroit, Michigan, USA.
the horror metal band.
The heavy metal horror show.
Yes. You've been here since Summeris. How do you like Berlin?
We just got into town just a little before we checked out the venue, and what we saw on the way in was awesome. And tomorrow we're going to go see some of the sights before we head to the next town. We've been having a great time over here in Europe. This is our fourth show of the tour. Yeah.
And we have to say you exist since 30 years roundabout, and it's your
It'll be 29 years this Halloween.
Yeah, and it's the first time you've been on headliner tour in Europe.
Yeah.
Why did it take so long time?
That's a good question. I guess the answer is usually money and opportunity. In the past, we had. Do I throw our original drummer under the bus? George Neal, our bass player, says yes. Throw him under the bus. Our original drummer, Bill White, refused. In the early days, we were invited 4 times to play Wacken. 4 times in the very beginning. And our drummer refused to come because he had never heard of it. It was new.
Okay.
It's now the biggest festival in the world, but at the time it was new. He had never heard of the festival. He couldn't get the time off work, and he said, I'm not going to fly to Europe and play for 20 minutes at 11 o'clock in the morning. I won't do it. 4 times we had to say thank you, but no thanks. So that may have had something to do with how long it took for us to come over. Finally, Oliver and Tariq from Keep It True brought us to play at Lauter Korninghofen. And from there, we were asked to come back and play at the Headbangers Open Air with Jürgen and the people from Hellion Records. And then in 2009, we got to come and play Sword Brothers with Volker, and that was in well, you know where it was, Andernach.
Yeah.
Yes, and now we get to come back and actually do a little bit of a tour, and we're having a great time.
Yeah. First time in Europe ever. That's awesome that you come back to Germany and for a tour. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, but let's come a bit to your history. Do you remember how does it start in the beginning as you were a child with rock and metal music?
For me, yeah, I started with more commercial stuff. When I was a kid, I liked bubblegum music, 1910 Fruit Gum Company, Ohio Express, bands like that, like old. And then I discovered Tommy James and the Shondells, and I started listening to hippie music. And then my next door neighbor to where I lived was listening to the James Gang with Joe Walsh, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, and Led Zeppelin. And as soon as I heard those, look, see that? Yeah. Chills. That's exactly what happened to me when I heard those bands. And I knew that was my true love was music. And so from that point on, bubblegum music was, kid stuff, and heavy metal has been my life ever since.
And what was the first instrument you ever played?
First instrument I ever played was a drum when I was under 1 year old. My mother has a picture of me. In fact, I think it was on my first birthday, and I beat the hell out of a little metal drum. I actually took drum lessons too when I was in high school. But see, I was smarter than drummers. I decided I didn't want to carry a big instrument around with me and have to set it up every time. And then I played guitar for a little while, and I realized I wasn't very good at that. I played just enough to write, and usually I'll come up with, an idea, and George comes up with ideas, and other guitar players like, Rick, our original, and the guys that are with us now, well, they'll come up with a riff. And I would do the same thing. I'd come up with a riff, and then I would hand the riff off to the actual guitar players, and then we would arrange and make a song from it. I think I fell into singing because as a lyricist, I had so many things going on in my brain, and that I wanted to get words out, and I didn't want someone else to sing my words. I wanted to express them my own way, so I kind of, as an outlet for my thoughts and my feelings, I just naturally ended up being a singer.
So from drummer as a child guitar, now singing.
Yes.
Good steps.
Yeah.
What comes next? Bass?
I've actually played bass a couple times. When George was having a birthday, I took his bass from me, and we do a song called Happy Fucking Birthday to You. It's at the end of the Horror Fire CD. And so we had him go out in the audience, and I played bass and sang, and I'm sure it was horrible.
No, you also played the Battle.
Oh, yeah.
He played bass on the Battle. Okay. That was, 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, long way to go.
And then the whole stage show thing came because when I was in school, junior high school and high school, I was in drama club, and I was like amazed with all the scenery and the props and how that all came together. And so that kind of carried on with me when I got into music. And, growing up I grew up in New Jersey, right near New York City. Mm-hmm. So as a teenager, I went to a lot of Broadway plays. Well, some musicals, like the musicals that I liked was like Godspell and Jesus Christ Superstar because they were rock.
Yeah.
And then obviously later on Phantom of the Opera. I liked scarier things. Always been a big fan of Halloween, the holiday. Always been a big fan of horror movies. And anything scary, thrill rides at an amusement park, anything that scares people, I thumbs up. And so the drama and all of that kind of came in. And we were just telling our tour manager today in the van on the way here that how things started out. A lot of people think, they're just like Alice Cooper or Kiss. Well, we obviously love those. Well, the imagery, the makeup, and the stage show and whatnot. We love those bands and we pay tribute to them. But when we started out, those bands, both Alice Cooper and Kiss, were taking off the makeup and were scaling down because disco music and pop music, and they were trying to, be more like what was happening on the radio so that they could sell more records. And when we started out, we got together at the end of October in 1982, and we had my basement where we rehearsed was all decorated with skulls and pumpkins and spider webs and candles, and it was decorated for the holiday. And Rick, our original guitar player, said, why don't we just call the band Halloween? And we all laughed and go, oh, well, how about Christmas or Easter? We kind of made a joke about it. And he says, no, really, we've already decorated, we already have a stage show. And the drummer that was with us at the time was good friends with another drummer that was playing in a band called Seduce, and they were starting to become popular in Detroit, and they were writing a song called Halloween. So Chuck, our original drummer, well, sort of original drummer, said, no, I won't call the band Halloween because they'll think we copied their thought and their idea. And so he refused, and so we had to come up with a different name. And so for 1 year, we called the band Bitch. And the reason for that was because when we were young, like TJ's age, we had our hair ratted up. We would wear makeup and stage clothes and jewelry and boots. And, and then we would go to the store or to the movies or the mall, and we would walk around looking like that. And dudes were always mistaking us for girls.
Like Twisted Sister?
Yeah, exactly. They would whistle at us, and then we'd turn around and they'd be like, oh, it's dudes, And so we thought, well, the name Bitch, like we didn't wear girly makeup. Like Twisted Sister kind of played it more to, we look like crazy girls. We look more like, like Joan Jett, like we'd kick your ass, if you messed with us. And so we decided to go with that. I don't know why that was better for Chuck than Halloween, but so after a little while, Chuck was out of the band. Actually, he wasn't with us for a long time. But once a year had passed, and we were using the stage show and the nickname, the Heavy Metal Horror Show, from the beginning. I mean, the flyers said, Bitch, the Heavy Metal Horror Show. And so we started getting really popular over that year. A lot of members came and went from the band. And when the year was up, we decided, why didn't we go with Halloween? Screw that guy, and let's go with our original name. So
Bitch was an issue at that time.
Yeah, and then Betsy Bitch from Los Angeles came out, and we're like, oh, now we got to fight for the name. So we were like, well, let's just go back to our original name. And so we, by design, made a final show for Bitch. And all of our fans were like upset because they loved coming to see us. We had a great following. And so we knew in secret that we planned on just changing the name. So we get to the venue. We have a brand new Halloween backdrop, and we put the bitch backdrop up in front of the Halloween backdrop. And it's on October 31st. At 2 minutes to midnight, we went on stage, and we said, hello, this is our last show. Bitch is no more. And I go, from now on, you can call us Halloween. And we ripped down the bitch banner. And we actually became Halloween on stage in front of an audience at 2 minutes to midnight on Halloween night in 1983. No other band, I don't know anybody that did something like that, which is why we fought for the name for so long. And then Halloween came out a few years later.
The German metal
band. And we had already been Halloween for 2 years. And one of the owners of Harpo's in Detroit came to us and showed us a magazine and said, have you ever heard of these guys? And the logo looked similar and everything. We're like, what the hell, And we read the article. It was in Kerrang! Magazine, and I don't remember who the interviewer was, but they asked Halloween, why did you pick that name? And they said, well, we picked Halloween because we didn't want to name our band after a movie. And we knew that there was already a band in America called Halloween. So we changed the A to an E and went with Halloween. And the whole pumpkin thing became an issue. Our manager at the time contacted Halloween's people in RCA Records, which was their label in the States. And we signed contracts with them that they would stop using the pumpkin in the center of their logo. And for one album, I think it was Keeper of the Seven Keys 2, they changed it to a globe or a picture of the world, and then for some reason just went back to to their original ways. And
they must have forgot.
Yeah, they must have forgot. But a lot of people, when we would try to get signed to labels in America, for some reason here in Germany and in Europe, people think twice, and they know that there are bands with similar names, and they know who they're talking about. For some reason in America, and here I go dissing my country again, but they can't keep it straight. They don't think about it. They just think it's the same band. And so the labels wanted us to change our name, but we refused to change our name because of the story of our name, how we became that. And looking into Halloween's image, it's like they didn't really do any kind of scary stage show and whatnot. They were just hard rock. And we have the whole show and everything that goes with it. So we fought to keep the name, and now it seems to be a non-issue. They know us, we know them. Funny story is when they came to Detroit on the Anthrax, Halloween, and Exodus tour. It was the Headbangers Ball. They played, and was it then? They were at Harpo's, and we wanted to meet them. And they found out that we were there, and they were like, no, because they had heard Detroit was the murder capital of the world, and they thought we were there to kill them or kick their ass or something.
I hear the same story from one member of the from the other Halloween band, because I meet them also sometimes, and they say the same story.
What did they say?
The same story, we want to meet them because we are scared maybe they kill us because of the name. It's really funny.
And we just wanted to say hello, meet them and say hi.
I love their music. They're a great band. So there's no animosity. It's just a similarity, And it was just a little thorn in the side.
Yeah.
But what was your first band you ever played in? Was it a school band or was it a band with your friends?
I think the first band for me, I was 15 years old, and we were called Monarch. And it was in New Jersey, just a bunch of guys that, that I had met, around town. And we were all Kiss fans, so all of our songs sounded like Kiss.
Own songs or cover songs?
Some of each.
Okay.
We did David Bowie and Leonard Skinner, and we played some Kiss songs. And I'm trying to think of who all was out back then. Probably Led Zeppelin. Yeah.
And do you remember also your first show ever you played? Where was it? When? And what was it for your feeling to be on stage?
The first professional show that I did was...
No, the first concert you ever played, not professional.
Bar or anything?
Well, I mean, the first one that was for real. The first one that was actually a show was a band I was in with my brother-in-law called Mesmerized. And we played at at a Air Force base in Michigan, at like a officers club for like their wives and kids and families and whatnot, and we had bombs and pyro and explosions and stage clothes. I remember the outfit I was wearing. It was like a white and black like tuxedo, like tails or whatever, and a top hat. So I mean, the whole theatrical thing was like right there from the beginning. And we did that for a couple of years, and then
that was your first show ever you played, was also with pyro, everything?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
On your first show?
Yeah.
Fuck, great.
First show ever, yep. And on a base, on a military base, and we're blowing stuff up. Nowadays, you couldn't even get in the gate with any kind of pyro, and here we were, blowing things up, and we didn't know what we were doing either. Pyros were made with coffee cans, so there's probably pieces of shrapnel. And I know we made big marks on the ceiling because the ceiling was too low, and it was crazy. But yeah, that's how it started. Yeah.
What was it for a feeling for you to be on stage and play music for fans?
It was awesome. And the first time, and that's what hooked you, the first time you get up there and people clap or scream or lose their minds over what you're doing, we sucked. We were horrible, but they loved us. So I was like, yeah, I want to do this forever.
And how developed it to now?
What's that?
How developed the feeling till now?
Yeah.
Is it the same feeling?
No, yeah. Okay. Every time. Even though, like I was telling you earlier, I'm having some issues with my voice. I was sick before I came over here and fighting through that and sucking on a Hall's cough drop right now. But even when you go up there and you're not feeling well, as soon as you see the crowd and get a reaction, even if it's 5 people, doesn't matter if it's 5 people or 5,000 people, if they're getting into what you're doing, everything else goes away and you're just having a blast. Yeah.
How would you describe your own show? I mean, if you stand in a crowd and see your own show, so you've been on a crowd and you're on stage, how would you describe the show?
I've never been to one of our shows, so it's hard to say. I mean, you see video of it, and I know that when I watch a video, I don't feel like the guy in the video. Like I watch like a fan would, but it's hard to see everything because a lot of the videos aren't really professionally shot. People have a camcorder or whatever, so you'll see parts of it and you'll be, I wonder what the pyro looked like, or we can't use pyro anymore. Thank you, Great White. Well, in America, everything's restricted and regulated because of the fire that Great White had a couple of years ago when all those people died. So now we were famous for doing pyro. We were almost as famous for pyro as Kiss, like on our level, and then boom, all gone away. You can't afford to do it anymore. Okay. So
maybe you have to be a support for Rammstein. Maybe you can do it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if there's enough. I don't know if there'd be enough powder left. They use so much that they were the best show I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
Yes. In Chicago last year, I saw them. I was blown away. Blown away. I don't know a word they were saying, but I had a blast. That was great.
It's really funny because everyone in America loves Rammstein, but everyone sings the song with them. But they didn't understand what they're talking about.
Yeah. They could be saying, America sucks, you guys are idiots, we have all your money, and we'd be going, yeah.
They have a song about America, do you know them?
No.
We all living in America, America is wunderbar. It's like wonderful.
Yeah.
But it's more like not a fan song for America, it's more like a kick-ass to the politics in America and something like that. That many things came from them. But it's a great video. It's also on YouTube if you like to see it. Next hours maybe. Do you often go to concerts or from other bands?
I do, but now I work in the industry. I'm a stagehand and a lighting tech, and so now that I've been behind the scenes with my own band and then going and putting up a lighting rig or video screens for Brooks and Dunn, Beyonce, Kiss and Aerosmith, whoever comes through, it's like it kind of takes some of the magic away because you know how everything happens, and so probably the biggest problem for me was going to concerts in my own town people would know, George and I would go to a lot of shows, and they would know us from Halloween. So we didn't have any special favors. We wouldn't get free tickets from promoters and whatnot. We had to pay like everybody else. So you pay $100 to go see a concert, and the entire time you're there trying to watch the show, somebody's interviewing you or asking you what's going on with Halloween or telling you that they love the band, which is awesome and amazing. But I just paid $100 to watch Kiss, yes. and now I'm talking about Halloween, and it's like, I just want to watch the show. So now, I go to the ones that I really want to see, and I try to stay out of sight and just watch the show so that I can enjoy it. But, most of the time when I see a show, it's because I'm working it.
Yeah. Is there a band you've never seen before and you would like to see them?
The Beatles.
Oh, okay. Okay, which is existing right now?
I think I've probably seen them all.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Lucky man.
Yeah. I think I've seen all that I would be interested to see.
Yeah. What about the metal scene in New Jersey and where you stay right now? I mean, are there good bands and clubs to go there? Would you prefer to other bands and other fans?
I've been away from New York and New Jersey for the whole life of the band. I go back to visit, and we've played in New York several times, and it's cool there, but there's not a strong metal scene. It kind of like peaks and valleys. Sometimes there'll be a lot of metal, and sometimes they're listening to rap and R&B and dance music, and so I mean just probably like it is in most big cities.
Yep.
In Detroit, we're kind of spoiled because there are good bands and there are good clubs, but a lot of the people that run the clubs and that run the stages and take care of the bands, they don't give a shit. So the bands will come in high as a kite, like ready to kick ass, and by the time you hit the stage, your spirit is broken because everybody treats you like shit.
Okay.
And so it kind of kills the scene, but we've got the Token Lounge, Blondies, the IROC, Harpo's, the Emerald Theater, what else? The Hayloft, Royal Oak Music Theater. I mean, there's Magic Bag. There's like 10 or more places to play. Some of them are gone now, Harpo's, and you get treated like crap there. Even some of the national acts that come in don't get treated well. And so some bands that are like on an up-and-coming national level, they won't even come to Detroit. They'll go to Flint, which is 100 miles north of Detroit, and play at the Machine Shop because they don't want to deal with the way you're treated in Detroit. Okay. The government in Detroit is corrupt. It's just a bad scene. But there's good metal bands there, or there were. And then they just break up because you get tired of banging your head against the wall trying to get ahead. And I don't know, we just must be stupid because we just keep going. And, what? Did I say something?
When the club owners treat the band like shit, or the production and stuff, it shows in the performances, which sometimes that will take away. And the fans, they get that, and they see that you're not having the best performance you can for what reason or not, and the crowd just keeps getting thinner and thinner. And just some of the clubs they used to be great at one time back in the 80s. They used to be great back in the 80s, but, it's like as time went on, I don't know if it's ego or just they don't give a shit anymore, but when it's like quicksand. If the band goes in to load in and they say you load in at 4 o'clock and nobody shows up till 7, well, that starts to break your spirit first. And then you go in and you go to a venue and they'll have a big venue with little speakers this big, like 3 of them. That's another thing that breaks your spirit.
No lights.
So the fans can see that in you, even though you're up there trying as hard as you can. And that's part of the reason, and
you feel like you're ripping off your fans, because you have no control. Your hands are tied. They're treating you. They're treating your fans. They're treating everybody like shit.
Okay.
But if you want to play, you have to play at these places.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
It's crazy. Never heard of that before. So That's here in Berlin, so in other countries it's luxury for you, right?
Ask Billy Milano and MOD how they got treated at Harpo's back. This was like in the 90s.
Okay.
They got beat up. Their bass player was put in the hospital, and people from the club kept their equipment because they got to go on stage for 15 minutes. MOD was a big national act. Big, 15 minutes they cut them, and they didn't even have the class to say one more song and let them finish out. They shut the power down. And so Billy Milano went to the edge of the stage and said, "Fuck this place up." And so the crowd rioted. And because of that, the bouncers beat the shit out of the band and locked them out without their equipment. And that wasn't, I mean, there were other stories like that. They did things like that to local bands. There's new people in there now, but people hear stories like that, or they hear that, your car's going to get broken into if you go to Harpo's.
Well, people have gotten killed out in the parking lot. Yeah. We played there one time, and they wanted us to bring the whole big stage.
Yeah.
Right?
Bring your stage show.
Bring the whole big stage show. All right, well, they'll let you in to set it up, and then...
Which is a full truck.
Yeah.
I mean, a full truck. We bring a lot. I mean, if you've seen pictures or video of our shows, especially at Harpo's, bring your stage show. We get there, and nobody there to let you in until 8 o'clock at night. It takes like 5 hours to set that up and do it properly. And 8 o'clock, the doors open at 9, so you have an hour, and they know. They're in the back room laughing, ha, 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 Halloween, whatever.
Tell them what happens at 2 o'clock.
Oh, at 2 o'clock, when you're done playing, the bouncers just start grabbing your things off the stage, throw them out the back door in the dark, in the cold, snow, whatever's happening, into an alley behind Harpo's, and they just put your stuff out there and shut the door. One time, huge stage show, they started taking things up into the truck. Well, things go in cases, and they have to go in, in order. And the bouncers just started putting stuff in the truck. So when I got done, I'm sweaty, I'm cold, have to go out in the snow and help load the truck because I'm the one that knows how everything goes. Yep. And come out there, and the truck is full, and most of our stuff is still on the ground. So I have to take everything off it. So I have to unload the truck now and put everything in the proper cases, and things are laying on top. It was a nightmare. Like the sun is coming up. It's 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and we're still trying to find if somebody walked off with our props and our equipment. There's panhandlers and homeless people coming up and trying to hit you up for money. It's nuts. And they turn the lights off and lock the door, and they leave, and you're out there with a mess.
Right now also, or just was it back in the 80s, 90s?
That was back in the 80s and 90s. Nowadays, I don't know, because they won't have us there. You have to pay to play at Harpo's.
Only thing I can think of back in the 80s, my incident was a microwave. Some guy was out on the side of the building, and these were when microwaves were pretty new. He's like, "Hey man, you want to buy a microwave for $50?" I'm like, "Sure." So he's like, "All right, take me across the street." I got him in the store in the back room. He's like, "Give me the money, I'll go in." I'm like, "No, I'll give you half." So I gave him 25. He goes in. He must have went out the back door. I'm like, "Oh man, I just got screwed out of $25. I wanted to kill the guy, right? We do the show. At the end of the show, I walk out, and he's standing outside going, "Where'd you go? Where were you?" "I got your microwave." I'm like, "Oh, okay. You know what? I was wrong. This guy's honest." He goes, "But it's at my house." So there was Rick, Bill, and myself. He's like, "Just give me a ride to my house. We'll go and get it." So we gave him a ride. He's like, "Give me the other $25. I give him $25. He walked up the driveway. I never seen him again. No, wait, it gets better. So I gave him $50 and a ride home. So that's how Harpo's is.
Okay,
sucker stamped on your forehead.
It's crazy. So I never go to Detroit.
By the way, that was George Neal, not Brian.
Okay, I never go to Detroit when I listen to these stories.
Actually, Detroit, there are places in Detroit that are really nice. There's some places that they're trying to fix up, but it's a rough place.
And what about?
I grew up in New York City, and people back home in New York, they find out you live in Detroit, and what Halloween told you. It's scary.
Okay, good to know. What about the difference between American and the Europe people and the fans? What do you think are the most, biggest difference?
Well, how do I do this without saying anything bad about our American fans? Especially, I'm sitting here by Facebook and reading comments that are coming in because we're posting that we're over here and what we're doing. I think the big difference is loyalty and intensity. The fans in Europe still hold on to that love and they identify with the music and they support it wholeheartedly. In America, we have pockets of fans that are diehards all over America, including Detroit. And Detroit, we still have a strong following. We still sell out places. The clubs treat us like shit, but our fans are amazing. But they're kind of swayed. If it's not on the radio, they don't know. If it's not, advertised, like for the shows over here, big posters, everybody's talking, so people come out, even on a off night. Like last night we played on a Sunday, tonight's a Monday. Don't know how the crowd will be, but we're hoping that it'll be good. If this is a Monday in Detroit, we couldn't even get a venue.
Okay.
Because you can't get the people to come out because they'll say, oh, let's get Halloween to play a show. And because they're one of the most popular bands in Detroit, hey, we don't have to get radio ads. We don't have to make posters. We don't have to put it in the paper. People will just show up. And then they don't. And then they go, oh, you guys suck. Yeah. You guys don't draw a crowd anymore. Well, we drew a crowd down the road where they advertised, everybody was there, and then people come up to you and they say, well, how come you guys aren't playing? We just played last night. Had no idea. Well, I can't get on the phone and call, 8,000 of our fans and say, hey, we're playing tomorrow. We do what we can. We advertise on the internet and hope people show up. But here it's like people make an effort and a point to make sure that they know what's going on and where their bands are playing, and it's just not always like that over there.
The fans are the ones that are true metal fans are 100% diehard loyal. See, it seems that you either love metal and that's it, or you love rap and that's it. Like here in Europe, you can love everything, and it's accepted. So when we came here the first time, it just floored us because, it wasn't people made an effort to camp out the night before or made an effort to drive more than an hour, and it's not like that because everything's kind of watered down. But as, a fan is a fan, Polish, German, Irish, if it's just if it's in their heart, it's all the same. There just happens to be more in Europe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What would you say now develop the advertising? I mean, you say you do it Facebook, you're doing here in Europe you're doing posters. Back in the 80s we don't have any Facebook, anything like that. Why do you think is it important to do it nowadays? Because the people don't want to have to talk about, they want to see it in the internet, or what would you say?
Well, I would say that the internet has brought us together with a whole world of fans that we didn't even know we had. We played a show in Detroit for a friend of ours who's a disc jockey from the radio there. Mm-hmm. And he's retired from on-air stuff, but now he does like an internet TV and webcast. Radio webcast, exactly. And we played for him, and he had an assistant that was from South America, and she was like very happy to meet us and see us and whatnot. And we asked where she was from. It was Chile.
Yeah,
she was from Chile, and she said, "You guys are huge down there. Everybody loves you." And I'm like, "Oh, you're probably thinking of Halloween." She's like, "No, Halloween from Detroit. You guys are very big down there. Everybody, all of South America, they love you guys." We had no idea. Okay. We don't even know how to. And now since we talked to her, we get people all the time on Facebook requesting us as friends from South America. We have no idea. Just like you asked how come it took so long to come to Europe. Yeah. We don't know how to book shows in South America. When you're working with another country, you have to have somebody like Volker brought us over for this tour. If we don't know a Volker in South America, we're staying home in Detroit.
You would say Facebook and the internet, everything helps you to come out more.
Yeah, definitely.
Everything would have been way different if we had the internet back in the 80s. Oh my God! The days when we were doing it, it would be go print 500 flyers and go to different clubs and parking lots and just paste them on there.
And we would do it ourselves.
Yes.
And
now it's just you type it in and post it. But I think eventually that's going to get oversaturated where people are just going to. Well, even now people overlook stuff because you get so many invites and so many events. I have an event page that I created on Facebook, and it's our territory tour news and updates, and then and I explained in the thing, it's just so we can keep our fans back in the States updated, and all you have to do is just log on to or look at the event and you can see what's going on. Well, what ended up happening, I sent 2,000 invites. Out of 2,000 invites, maybe 1,400 of them were never opened. Another 300 declined. And I'm wondering, so people just don't read it. Because, you can decline it, but they probably thought, oh, it's a show. I'm not, I don't want to see that. So it's starting to get to a point where people aren't really even paying attention online. They're going on looking for a specific thing. So I think that's going to end up getting worse. We're going to have to think of a different way to advertise through these, So and most of the time what I do is we create YouTube video ads instead of a flyer.
Like a trailer?
Yes.
I saw your trailer from with a pumpkin was speaking. It was funny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Never seen that before. That a pumpkin speak, and was it your voice too?
Yeah. Some of them were.
Some, and I do some.
I do all the animation. I do some pretty funny ones too. I could take like anybody's face and put a different voice to it.
We're practical jokers, especially this guy.
But yeah, and so I figured, well, people won't always just read the flyer to see the logo and that's it. But if they get this on their thing, they can actually watch it instead of have to read it. They can hear it and have a visual. So, that's just was one way. Just
you always try to do something more, because if you do the same thing everybody else is doing, like he says, people just overlook it, And there has to be a happy medium because the internet and online is how most people are getting their music now. Especially over here I see that there's still CDs, but in the United States it's like you bring a CD and they look at it like, what do I do with that?
Really?
Oh yeah, they want to download their music.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
But in the metal scene, is it here in Germany? They like to have CDs, vinyls.
That's how I am. I love to hold it in my hand and look at it and read the liner notes and the lyrics and whatnot.
Yes. To see the cover and the artwork and everything else. So
in America,
it's important.
They just want the MP3. They just want to listen to the songs that they like and download them. Some of them will pay for it. Some of them will steal it. But they just want.
Yeah, 80% now from our record sales. It's between 70 and 80% of our entire sales is digital downloads, and CDs. I mean, for every CD we sell, we get like 4 or 5 downloads. So I now that the vinyls are coming out, you got your vinyl collectors; those are going really fast, but I still have 6 territory LPs at home. We didn't get that many, but every couple of days I'll get a thing from CD Baby, a digital download, and it's like there's like 30 or 40 digital downloads for songs. Yeah. So it's just that it's digital. I don't know if you can put it on your MP3 player on your computer. You can burn a disc and put it in your car.
Take it with you and listen on your phone.
Yeah, if you have a CD at home, you can bring it on the computer and then on the MP3 player.
That's what I do. I get the CD and then I put it on my MP3 player. But like I said, a lot of the culture in America is that the government and the media there, they prefer if the population is lazy and stupid, so that they can just sell you crap.
Yes.
And that's, and people just buy into it. I'm fat, I'm lazy, and I'm not trying to insult the people. I think that they're being misled and they don't even realize it. Let's face it. In America, I don't even think the government runs the country. Yeah. I think the country is run by corporations and, special interest groups and lobbyists.
It's not only in America, I can say.
Yeah. And you don't realize that you'll be sitting in a room talking about heavy metal, and the reason that things are the way they are for us is because the people, the higher ups in your country are trying to dumb down your society. But that's what it is. Yeah. But then we'll have not fans of ours, but just like metal fans in general. Obviously every band has people that like them and people that hate them. Well, the people that hate us, they laugh, ha ha ha. Halloween's popular in Germany. Like, that's a bad thing. Like, oh, like Germany doesn't know what the hell's going on. You guys are behind the times and whatnot. I'd like to see that person come with us over here and see what we get and what we feel when we come over here and play, and then talk shit. Because it's you who's been dumbed down by the people that control your puppet strings, that you would make an ignorant comment like that and go buy Bruno Mars on your MP3, or go steal it on Pirate Bay or whatever, and go dance off out of my sight, because I have no use for somebody like that. Or people that say that they support metal and they latch on, and this is kind of popular over there, they'll latch on to one band and hate everybody else. I love Slayer. Most people that like Slayer in America, they only like Slayer. Mm-hmm. So if you're not Slayer, you suck. Yeah. Doesn't matter who it is. You could be Pantera. If you're not Slayer, you suck. Yeah. That's ignorant to me. I love music. True. And I especially love metal because it speaks to me. And I think that that's part of the dumbing down of our society, that people are, from the time you're a kid, you're taught to play football, baseball, soccer, hockey, and they make you competitive. You're not shit unless you're better than everybody else. Yep. I don't feel that way. I love other bands. If I thought no other band was good and that my band was the best, for one, I'd be an idiot, because I know that we all have limitations. Why would I think that my band is the best? I want to do the best. I want to have fans that love what we do. But I love Slayer. I love Pantera. I love Bullet for My Valentine, and they're new. To me, it's metal. If it works for me, who are you to tell me what to like? You know what I mean? And I feel the same way about them. I don't tell them what to like, but don't make ignorant comments. And a lot of people do.
That's a good end for the interview, but I have one last question for you. It's more like a topic. You have 6 members maximum, and you can choose your all-time favorite band. With members from all rock and metal bands and hard rock bands, if you like. They can be alive or be dead. Maximum 6 members. Tell the name and from which band you choose them. You would like to do one?
I already have my band.
Say.
Yeah.
Would be Deal.
As a singer?
Yes. Vinny Appice.
Which band?
Yeah, Deal.
Also from Deal?
Yeah.
Which position?
Chris Oliva.
Vinny Appice was the drummer.
Drummer, okay.
Yeah, Chris Oliva, guitar player.
Oh.
And Geezer Butler on bass.
Which band? Also Deal?
Black Sabbath.
Sabbath. Yeah.
Sabbath, okay.
That would be it.
Okay, 4 members. And yours?
Randy Rhoads and Chris Oliva on guitar.
Which band?
Well, Randy Rhoads from Ozzy Osbourne and Chris Oliva from Savatage. I'd have 2 guitar players because I love that.
Okay.
I'd have Steve Harris on bass from Iron Maiden. I would have Scott Travis from Judas Priest on drums.
Mm-hmm.
Don Airey, keyboards.
Which band?
From Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay.
And
I think I know.
Do I get to pick a singer also?
You can also...
Or would I be singing?
Yeah, of course.
I'd be singing.
Okay. It's a nice band.
Thank you.
Old school heavy metal or another genre?
Old school heavy metal, but we would evolve.
With a special horror show.
Yes.
Okay. Then thank you for your time. It was a good talk. I hope you liked the question. Okay, most of the time you talk.
Did you want to know anything about our new CD?
If you like to tell something about, why not?
Well, I would, because it came out in February of this year. And I would just like to say, just because some of the reviews and some of the interviews that we've done, people have asked about the length of the CD and the production of the CD. The length of the CD, it's something I don't understand. Some people complain that it's too long. And my simple answer to that is you don't have to listen to it all at the same time. We kind of feel like, for one, we record just whatever comes out. Some of the songs are from earlier in our career, songs that we loved and just were not able to record back at that time, and so we bring them out now because it seems like our fans like when we go back into the vault and bring something back along. And so when you have a lot of music, we figured let's just put it all on there. People get more for their money, you know, and it's kind of a system that we've been using for a long time. No One Gets Out had a lot of songs. Horror Fire had a lot of songs. For the people that say too much, we put out Evil Pieces. That only had 6. Yeah, and somebody complained it was too short. But with Territory, what happened basically is that we had a lot of songs, and we couldn't pick one to leave off the album. Somebody said, oh, well, you should have just made it with a certain amount and have the others as B-sides. But then we feel like we're ripping people off because then you have to buy something else to get the B-sides. So we just put it all on there. And the production issues, Donnie Allen, who was our guitar player until last year, right, had gotten ill and needed an operation to save his life.
Okay.
And when he got sick, we were at the part where the guitar solos, the whole record had been recorded except for the guitar solos. And he got sick, so he couldn't finish the record. And we came up with a couple of different ideas. We reached out to all the other guitar players that we respected in the Detroit area. In fact, some of them still play on the record. Billy Gray, who had previously been in Halloween. Chuck Stoll from his former band, Rob Brugg, our drummer, was at one time in Damien, and Chuck Stoll is a guitar player from Damien, another great band. And so Chuck plays some of the solos. And Don Gurrier, our new guitar player, plays some. But we were going to have David Black from Seduce. We were going to have Joey Gatos from Weapons. Other named players, Rachel May from Broadzilla, Maxine Petrucci from Madam X. All these people live near us. So we were going to say, hey, the record is called Territory, which is obviously a play on words, and it kind of represents where we're from and our stage show, our area, our state of mind. And so we thought, well, let's show off the people that live in our territory. Mm-hmm. And that was a really good idea until everybody said they would do it. Razor Ray from Motown Rage also was going to do one. Everybody said they would do a solo, and then we're waiting and waiting and waiting, and some people sent some in. Rob DeMoss from my other band, Siren, was going to do one. Some people sent them in and some didn't. We're like, well, time's ticking. We got to get this record done. So eventually, Rob ended up doing 2 of them. Don wrote some more solos. Did you do 2 or 3? Who played the solo on Caught in the Webs? Was that you? You did I Lie Awake and Traipsing too, didn't you? So isn't that 3? Oh, Donnie did I Lie Awake. Okay. And then, so all this time goes by. Donnie has a liver transplant, and once he's well enough to perform again, we had him come in because we're still waiting. We've not gotten solos finished. Don didn't finish all of them, and so we said, Donnie, if you're feeling up to it, come back and finish the record with us. And he did. And by that time, George had already made, how many, like 100 different trailers saying, oh, the new album Territory is coming out on this date and this date and this date. And it just kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed. And so finally it got to the point where people were screaming, like, where's this record we've been hearing about for all these years? So Rob, who, mixes and produces and whatnot, it's like, now you're under the gun. Now it's like, hurry up and get it out by Christmas. And there's tracks that haven't been listened to in years. There's tracks that were recorded in one place, other tracks that were recorded somewhere else, then guitar solos that were recorded at his house on a completely different studio. Yeah. So you're trying to put this all together like a jigsaw and hurry up and get it out because people are saying, a contract to release this record by a certain day.
Also in a brand new studio because I moved.
Yeah.
So the studio that the final mixes and mastering were done in were untested. We had just moved into the place. So, yeah, it's that made things interesting too. Yeah.
So at one point you just get to where you have to put the record out, and it is what it is. And some of the reviews, they pointed out the production and they pointed out the length, and so not to make excuses, but the truth is the truth, and that's how things happen. But we're proud of the songs. We love all of our songs. We've had production issues from the beginning, and again, going back to your very first question, it's money. We don't have sponsors and we don't have a financial backer, so we're doing it all on our own. Even the very first Don't Meddle with Evil, and we kind of struck gold with that. I don't have a paycheck to prove that, but people love that album, and we did that pretty much on our own too, with no money. And so it's been a continuing thing, and we can probably thank Halloween for the fact that we weren't signed to a major label. Yeah. And so that's the story on the album. But we love the songs, and we're going to play a bunch of them tonight, and hopefully the crowd, and yourself enjoy them.
I will enjoy, because I'm really happy to have heavy metal here in the town.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's the first time you play here in Berlin, so it's an honor to be here.
And we're absolutely blown away to be playing in Berlin. I mean, the whole tour, but Berlin was like my highlight. I wanted to come here really bad.
Don't lie.
No, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. This is the big one for me.
About Hamburg too.
Yeah, it's every time the same with the musicians.
Trust me, I love every place that we have and plan on playing, but I'm really looking forward to tonight's show.
Okay, then thank you again for the time. Hope you like the questions, and if you have some last words, now is the time for.
Thank you to anybody that's ever supported us for doing it and continuing to, and we owe you.
You would like something to say, Stu?
Yeah, www.halloweentheband.com. It has all the updates if you want to go there, and has all kinds of information. And
links to Facebook and MySpace and Twitter, all of our sites you can get through halloweentheband.com.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.